Take a moment and look around at the world we live in. We are living in an age where nearly everything is measured by outward success, status, wealth, degrees, or fame. And yet there is something few people notice: what truly leaves a lasting impression on others rarely lies in those surface achievements. Have you ever met someone who is neither loud nor showy, yet whose presence instantly makes you feel safe? It is a difficult feeling to describe, like they carry an invisible magnetism, a depth you cannot ignore. Carl Jung once said that there are inner qualities we only perceive if we are attentive enough. For many women, these qualities may not appear as obvious as beauty or charm, but they are the very foundation of enduring strength. And the fascinating thing is that in today's noisy, pressured world, these invisible qualities become even more precious. They bring balance, genuine connection, and the ability to inspire those around them. In today's reflection, we will explore these deeper qualities together. These are not tricks to become someone else, but signs of a soul that has traveled far, grown, and learned to live in alignment with its inner values. And because of that, such women become anchors of strength and sources of light for their communities. One of the clearest qualities of a spiritually deep woman is her ability to sense energy. When she enters a room, she seems to immediately read the atmosphere, not in some mystical, far-fetched way, but with a refined sensitivity to subtle cues of voice that falters, eyes that look away, or a smile that doesn't quite reach the heart. She perceives sadness hidden behind strength or anxiety, masked with laughter. In practice, this makes her the friend, mother, or colleague everyone trusts when they need to share. Because even if you don't say it, she feels what weighs on your heart. And unlike curiosity or judgment, she meets it with understanding and compassion. This sensitivity creates a rare kind of magnetism around her. You feel you don't need to wear a mask. Jung suggested that people like this can touch the deeper layers of the collective unconscious. Whatever name we give it, the reality is that they connect in ways words can never fully capture. In a world growing louder by the day, their presence feels like a sacred pause, a place where others feel truly seen and heard. Another quality, often overlooked but profoundly powerful, is the gift of sacred silence. In a society that glorifies busyness, where people tie themselves to endless schedules and constant digital noise, someone who treasures silence stands out. For them, time alone is not an emptiness to be filled, but a sacred chamber of the soul. It is a space to relax, to observe, to listen, and to reconnect with themselves. Picture a woman at the end of a long day, work, family responsibilities all pressing upon her. Instead of rushing to distract herself, she chooses to sit quietly with a cup of tea, write a few lines in her journal, or simply watch the last light of the day filter through her window. In that moment, she is not seeking approval from the outside world. She is allowing her mind to rest and her heart to speak. It is often in these moments that creativity, peace, and unexpected answers to life's hardest questions emerge. Carl Jung emphasized that in silence, the unconscious finally has a chance to rise and speak with us. For women of spiritual depth, silence is not just rest. It is a bridge between the conscious mind and the inner world. Through it, they see what daily life conceals, and they draw strength to keep moving forward. This also explains why when you meet such a woman, you feel a quiet peace radiating from her, as though she carries stillness itself. She doesn't need to be loud to prove her worth, nor does she get pulled into endless arguments. She offers another way of living, to pause, to breathe, to listen inwardly, and that ability makes her truly different. While many run from silence because they fear what unresolved thoughts may surface, she steps into it and makes it her refuge. This is not escape, it is a mature, courageous way to preserve balance. And when she emerges from that silence, she carries with her a new energy, gentle yet steady, that anyone nearby can feel. From silence itself, another power slowly emerges, the ability to see through the surface of society. Once someone has learned to sit with themselves, they also become sharper at perceiving the truth behind the masks of others. A false compliment, a smile hiding anxiety, a display of bravado concealing fear. None of these escape their notice. Not because they are suspicious, but because silence has taught them to observe more deeply, to listen more carefully, and to sense what others often overlook. This makes them like honest mirrors. In a world so easily consumed by appearances and status, they look directly at motives and genuine feelings. You may notice them in a meeting, saying little yet their gaze makes others reconsider their words. Or in an intimate conversation where they do not judge but their attentive listening makes it impossible for the other to keep hiding. Their presence alone carries a quiet power. Others feel compelled to be honest, not just with them, but with themselves. From here, another quality naturally arises, the ability to transform suffering into wisdom. When you are brave enough to face truth, your own and others, you cannot avoid encountering wounds. Old wounds resurface, long buried, yet still alive. The pain of others reflects back into you. But instead of avoiding, they choose to enter and learn. As Jung once said, only when a person dares to face the shadow do they discover the path to light. Women with deep spiritual wisdom are often called wounded healers. They understand pain because they have lived it, and rather than letting it make them bitter, they turn it into empathy, compassion, and the capacity to uplift others. This is no easy path. It requires courage not to become a victim, but to become a witness and a guide. And that is why when you are near them, you feel a rare safety. You know they will not judge your wounds, for they too have walked through their own darkness. The connection between silence, insight, and the transformation of pain forms a complete circle. They not only see truth, but embrace it, dialogue with it, and turn it into strength. Because of this, they live not only for themselves, but bring light and healing to anyone who crosses their path. Once a person learns to walk through suffering and turn it into wisdom, they also find it easier to feel connected to the wider world, to sense a natural harmony with the rhythm of the earth. Living in harmony with nature is not simply about loving trees or landscapes, but about a deep awareness of belonging to something larger. Walking beneath trees, they feel life breathing with them. Hearing the wind, they recognize the gentle rhythm of the universe. In modern life, where so many are cut off from nature by concrete walls and glowing screens, this connection becomes a treasure. It brings balance like an underground stream that keeps the soul from ever drying out. This is why such women often refresh others simply by their presence. Around them, hearts beat, slower breaths grow deeper, and the mind softens as if nature itself were reaching through them to touch you. From this harmony arises another strength, the power of silent presence. They do not need flowery words. Their silence itself carries healing. They know how to listen with the whole heart so that others feel truly understood. In conversation, they do not interrupt or rush to advise, but create space for you to release what you carry. Sometimes just a warm glance or a nod of deep empathy is enough to move someone to tears because at last they feel seen. Jung once emphasized that language is a sacred act. For women of spiritual wisdom, every word is chosen carefully spoken only when truly needed. And so when they do speak, their words carry weight like a note that lingers in a quiet symphony. Others listen not out of compulsion, but because they sense the sincerity and strength woven into each syllable. The blending of harmony with nature and the gift of silent presence makes them a rare force in a noisy world. They do not need to seek attention. Their stillness is already enough to serve as a guiding light. In this way, they become spiritual anchors, not only for family or friends, but for anyone fortunate enough to encounter them. This silence and presence do not stop at creating peace within themselves, but extend into a spirit of service to the community. When someone has walked through pain, found balance, and discovered their inner strength, they often realize that the true value of life is not in accumulating for oneself, but in giving. For them, helping others is not duty. It is as natural as breathing. You will find such women in ordinary settings. Perhaps she is the one quietly organizing a small charity in the neighborhood, never seeking her name to be known. Perhaps she is the one taking time to sit with a lonely, elderly neighbor. Or simply the friend who always shows up when you are most exhausted with a word of comfort that pierces straight to the heart. This spirit of service makes them a landmark in the community, a place others return to when they need trust. Jung reminded us a truly mature soul cannot live only for itself. True maturity always carries with it the desire to connect and to contribute. And because of this, when these women are present in a community, they often become a quiet source of inspiration. Others look at them not only with admiration, but as reminders that they too can live with openness and sincerity. This links closely to the ability to connect with the collective unconscious. They often sense that what they do is not just meaningful for one person, but touches something larger, deeper, a dream, a coincidence, a recurring symbol in daily life, all become guiding signals. For them, these are not accidents, but reminders that every act of kindness, every gesture of love can ripple far beyond what we imagine. When the spirit of service combines with this deeper connection, they become like musicians playing the symphony of the collective soul. They feel the shared fears, hopes, and longings and transform them into concrete acts of healing and support. For this reason, they are not only loved by those close to them, but respected as an essential presence in their communities. And then all of these qualities converge to open the door to one final wonder, the attraction of sacred experiences and meaningful coincidences. A woman of deep spiritual wisdom seems to become a kind of magnet drawing into her life. Encounters, events, and opportunities that feel destined. It might be a stranger who appears at the very moment she needs guidance. It might be a book that falls into her hands when her mind is searching for a way through. Or it might be a small event perfectly aligned with dreams she once had. To the outside world, it all looks like chance, but to her, everything carries meaning. She understands that life is always sending signals that only become clear when the soul is quiet and open enough to listen. Because of this, she walks through life with a different kind of trust. Rather than straining to control every detail, she learns to release, to observe, and to let life itself guide her through its subtle signs. This quiet magnetism also makes her a turning point in the journeys of others. Perhaps you can recall meeting a woman who made you think meeting her was a milestone, not because she tried to impress you, but because her presence awakened something within you that had long been asleep. Such women do not pass through life as ordinary figures. They stand as markers of transformation. Carl Jung once said that meaningful coincidences, what he called synchronicity, are the way the collective unconscious speaks to us. For women of deep spiritual wisdom, these signs are not just noticed but lived. They step into the rhythm of the universe, allowing every event, every encounter, every circumstance to become part of a larger map, leading toward growth and wholeness. And in that moment, we begin to see that these invisible qualities are not only the source of their magnetism, but also the mirror that reflects truth for the entire community. They remind us that life is not a random sequence of meaningless events, but a sacred journey where every step holds the possibility of self-discovery. There is something we often forget. Human beings cannot be measured only by what the eyes can see. In a noisy world where success is equated with recognition, fame, or wealth, it is easy to overlook the invisible qualities that endure far longer. The qualities we have just explored: sensitivity to energy, harmony with nature, the strength of silence, the power to turn pain into wisdom, and the spirit of service are what give lasting depth to a mature soul. They are not tricks to please the world, but living proof that when we dare to face ourselves fully, we shine in our own unique way. Think of the people who have passed through your life and left the deepest impression. More often than not, they were not the ones who spoke the loudest, nor the ones dressed most extravagantly. They were the ones who made you feel safe, understood, and free to be yourself. They carried a quietness within them, but that quietness echoed like music that lingers long after. And this, Jung would say, is the sign of a soul that has moved closer to wholeness, not by fleeing the shadow, but by integrating it into light. The message here is not only for women, but for all of us. Every one of us can choose this path of inner growth. We all have the capacity to turn wounds into wisdom, sensitivity into strength, and our presence into a safe haven for others. It requires courage, patience, and sometimes the willingness to walk alone on the silent road. But the reward is true freedom from being controlled by fear or the constant hunger for approval. If these reflections stirred something within you, don't let it fade into a passing feeling. Let it become a reminder. True magnetism does not come from trying to be someone else, but from daring to be wholly yourself, embracing both the light and the shadow. And if you feel this journey is worth continuing, I invite you to walk it with me here. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell so that each day we can go deeper into Jung's insights, exploring the unconscious together and transforming everyday experiences into opportunities for healing and growth. Because in the end, the world does not need more perfect masks. It needs people with the courage to live sincerely, to shine from within, and to share that light with others. And if you are here listening to these words, perhaps you already carry that gift within you, waiting to be awakened. Stay with us because this journey is long and the light within you deserves to be nourished.